I'd say this plugin is without a doubt
Our most used
plugin, and probably the most important to the sound of our record. And it just, I don't know what it is. It's just, it does this magic thing, and we use it on basically everything. And this has become another go-to. And that way of working with kind of mixing into chains and buses, it kind of applies to the mix bus as well. I know a lot of people don't like to have anything on the mix bus, and it's maybe the more correct way of doing things sometimes. But we just do whatever. Like this mix bus chain is, I don't think it would make any sense to someone that was like a audio engineer necessarily. But we just keep on going until it sounds right to us. And we mastered the record with a lot of these plugins, and we would the mastering we did a combination of sort of hardware and plugin depending on the song, and this song a lot of the mastering ended up just being done in this project. I've got a feeling this might have been the final master that we did from this session. I'd say this plugin is without a doubt
our most used
plugin, and probably the most important to the sound of our records. It would be fair to say. In terms
which plugin is this?
It's called Ruby 3.
It's based on a DW Fern valve EQ. It's like a Pultec style EQ, and we got to use the real hardware like a long time ago, and it sort of blew our minds like what it did, with the mid scoop and the cut and boost. And so we found this plugin from Acoustica, and it's using impulse responses. So it's like pretty faithfully based on the original hardware. And it just does this magic thing that it's like a real treat when you get to like a fairly good spot in the track. You're just like, should we treat ourselves to a Ruby now? And we put that on the mix bus, and suddenly it just sounds much more like a record.
Right.
And you just dial in really, really quickly, like a little bit of a cut and boost on the bass around 40 hertz or something. And then a little scoop at 200 hertz, and then maybe like a little cut and boost at the top as well. And then it just suddenly just sounds, better.
We can play you a bit with it off.
Yes.
So this is. I'll play it with it on first, which is. I don't know why the volume keeps dropping. I think it's too many compressors. But anyway, so this is with it on, and then off. It sounds quite subtle in this one. It basically takes away a load of the lower mid mud, and it opens up the tops, and it just, I don't know what it is. It's just, it does this magic thing, and we use it on basically everything. And this has become another go-to plugin, which is the Ampex tape simulator from UAD. And when we don't record something physically to tape, we often end up using this because it has a bit more control. And the classic Jazz Vision Master is the go-to setting, and it's got this thing in the repro section where it kind of really lifts the top end, but it does something really different to just boosting an EQ at the top end. I'm not sure what the science is behind it, but it always just adds this really nice sort of sheen and kind of crispiness to the top. And again, just has that thing of like, I don't know, it's just existing as it should sound. It's hard to, yeah.
Well, we've got to hear that now too.
Yeah, so then.
This episode is being supported by our good friends at Tape It, the iPhone app made specifically for musicians. If you, like many of our guests, use voice memos, then as far as we're concerned, switching to Tape It is an obvious choice. It's free, and there are a load of features you won't find on Apple's Voice Memos app, including the ability to record straight from your lock screen, set markers, add notes, include photos of settings, and you can easily import your old voice notes, sync to the cloud, and create shared playlists with co-writers and bandmates. So head to the link below to install the app now. And if you want even more, check out Tape It Pro and use the promo code TAPENOTES to receive a whopping 20% off. And now, back to the episode.
What I should do is turn the whole mix bus off. Should I do that? and hear it without anything, and then we can go through and turn them on. So this is what it sounds like with no processing, and it'll sound particularly shit because we will have ultimately ended up mixing into this process, but this is fairly like standard for how we'd end up making something, isn't it? So this is it with nothing. First one would be the Ruby, tucks in the bottom end a bit. The next one's tape machine, which we're taking off 10 dB before we hit the tape machine, just so we can hit it at the right level, which on this instance was not very hard. Then it's a Gullfoss, which is obviously just like a kind of intelligent EQ that will boost and cut on a sort of material dependent basis, and we're using it fairly heavy-handedly here. We're not normally up into the sort of 40% range, but that's again, mostly in this case, it's bringing out a lot of top end, and then another 3D boost into this plugin here, which is doing a lot of the heavy lifting. This is a plugin that we've been working on that's going to be coming out later in the year.
One of your own creation.
With
collaboration
with another company, and it's called Diamond Cut, and we ended up using it a lot on this record. And so on this song, actually, well, you'd know better than me what I was doing on this one. I think you're normally the one that dials it all in, but
so it's just basically a bus processor or a mixed bus processor, and it's you can get a bit of saturation, a bit of stereo width, some clipping, expansion, that sort of thing, and you can go quite wild on it if you want, but you can also just on this one we haven't gone that wild. It's just a little bit of soft saturation. I think we've got a little bit of the stereo width, and then we're just using a little bit of clipping as well. Yeah,
the limiter section on it is really good at kind of, particularly for songs like this, it gives you a huge amount of level without detracting from whatever else. But I don't know if it's very good at just making things very loud without it squashing things too much. And we've used it fairly lightly here. It doesn't even look like we're getting about 1 dB of gain reduction. But this is often how we'll use limiting, is kind of multiple limiters happening one after another. So I think we've got 4 in a row here. So then after that, we've just EQ'd it a tiny bit. We've got about half a dB boost somewhere in the lower mid. So that would have been just, sometimes if you take out a bit too much with the Ruby, doing the kind of Pultec style high and low cut at the same time, at the same frequency, sometimes you can take out a bit too much and it can sound like you've got loads at the bottom, loads at the top, and this kind of gaping void in the middle. So we've probably just added half a dB there to try and bring a little bit of that in. And then this is a plugin that is...
And in terms of this layers of limiting, and why do you use the layers when you could... Is it because you want to use the different types of limiting that are on offer?
They have different characteristics.
And then the effect that each of those has on each other as you layer them up.
Yeah, exactly. So the 4 limiters we've used here are, the first one's Diamond Cut, then the next one would be, and Diamond Cut that would make things just quite loud and quite punchy. And then Vintage Warmer does a sort of similar thing, but we're using the EQ section of the Vintage Warmer here, with the limiter as well, I think. Or maybe, Vintage Warmer's doing more compression here. And using the high shelf on that. And then the next limiter after that would be the L2, which has a really different sound to it. And is it can ruin L2 can ruin music really quickly. It's like a really sort of smeary sounding limiter, but a little bit of it can be really nice, and it just pulls up loads of noise. We're always very keen on just pulling up all of the other stuff in the music that isn't just the actual things that we've been intending to record. But again, it's probably not doing... It's doing 2 dB of limiting at most. Yeah. And then we've got a Pro L2 on the end, which is we've got it set to transparent mode. It's very, very clean. And again, doing, maybe 2 dB limiting tops. And so having different limiters one after another, they'll all have different attack and release settings. And so you can have, instead of having one limiter and you're getting 6 dB of gain reduction, but with the same attack and release settings, you could have one limiter that had a very quick attack and release. And you can just do, get 1 or 2 dB of limiting out of that. And it's almost, at that point, it's almost just acting like a clipper. Whereas then, something like the L2 Ultra Maximizer, which is the sort of complete opposite and more kind of takes off a lot of transients a lot of the time if you're not careful. It can really just like take your source material really far away from what it was. But again, just a tiny bit of that. So we're just sort of using all the different characters, I think, of these different limiters. And again, it's just like trial and error and just seeing what sounds right to us. And then between those limiters, we've got another mag EQ, and this time it's just adding 2 dB on like a 15K band of air, which is obviously, it's like famous for its air band, and that's just adding another little bit of sizzle and sparkle on the top. But it's not like this chain. We don't have like a set chain. This would be different on every song, and it just is whatever feels like it. There's certain things we'll kind of gravitate back towards, but it's different every time.